Rolling. Hello. Okay. Hey, what's up? It's all here. Today I just want to do a chill video talking about why I decided to get my tattoo in case any of you guys are interested or just want to know more about it. So yeah, let's get started. So growing up, I always thought tattoos were really cool, but I never thought that I could commit to something myself. It's always been in my mind like, oh, tattoos are really cool. And whenever I saw someone with a tattoo, I was attracted to that. I thought that it gave a really badass artistic image and this aura where, how do I explain it? I feel like it makes you look tougher and more like, where people won't step on you as easily. Yeah. But aside from that part, I feel like tattoos usually have a pretty deep meaning to it, and the idea of having a tattoo as a reminder or bringing in some kind of positivity into your life, I really like that aspect of it. So anyways, a lot of these things were kind of in the back of my mind for years, but I always struggled with thinking of, what tattoo would I want if I was to get one? The first time I actually came across a cool tattoo design that I would personally want for myself was actually back in 2019 when I was shooting a destination wedding in Mexico. I was working with this really talented photographer called Siva, and I remember we were just like working during downtime and I saw the word breathe on his, I think it was along his thumb, one of his hands. I don't remember which one, but I was asking about that tattoo and he was telling me how he's a workaholic and having the word breathe was a reminder to him to stop working, to slow down and literally just breathe. So I remember thinking in that moment, I'm like, wow, that's a really cool idea. And if I were to ever get a tattoo, I felt like that would be a perfect word for myself too, because back then I was also a really big workaholic, and even now, like, I think I'm better at it now, but back then I would always be working on something, and whenever I didn't do anything related to work, I felt very guilty about it, unproductive, and I would always like beat myself up for not working. So that's when the word breathe kind of was imprinted in my brain, but I didn't really think about it seriously until fast forward to 2023. There's been a lot of changes in my life in the past few years. After going to therapy and kind of realizing that my anxiety is a real thing. Like, I always knew that I overthink a lot. Like, I kind of go into a hole and spiral thinking about all these different like situations, and when there's a problem I think of like a billion different ways to like solve it, when in reality it's like I don't need to always fix things. Like, a lot of times I can kind of just let it be or just not be so anxious about it and not analyze it so much, you know? Like, sometimes things don't need fixing and you just gotta like wait it out. That mixed with I think just growing up, and it's like I get anxious about the future a lot these days. Like, how will things work out? And like you guys know too, I don't have a proper 9-to-5 job, and I never really pursued that path either because I've always been trying to figure out my own way. But the problem with that is like there's no clear roadmap. You know what I mean? It's like I'm just navigating through things myself. I don't really have a mentor to like tell me, oh, this is exactly what you should do if you want to get here. A lot of it is literally trial and error, and I kind of like see what works, what doesn't, what I like, what I don't, and kind of just go from there. So the week before I booked my first tattoo appointment, I was going through a lot of things, and it's like I really wanted the answer and I really wanted to like know. It's just a lot of things that I want to know and I want to do, and it's like I feel like I need the answer before I can move forward, but at the same time it's like it's not true. There are other things that I can focus on within my control as opposed to trying to control all these other things that I don't have control over. You know, it's like my personality type is I like to get things done and I like to be efficient and fast, and I don't know. Anyways, that's kind of a random like backstory, but the main thing is in that moment when things were kind of like spiraling and I was feeling very anxious and restless, I'm like, dude, I really just need to like chill out, be zen, and breathe. So after all that happened, I was like, yeah, I really want a reminder to just tell myself to slow down, breathe, and just remind myself that it's going to be okay. Like I don't need to worry about the details of how everything will work out. Like I just need to trust in the process and do what I can to make it work or whatever it is, you know, like I can only do so much. The rest is in other people's hands, and yeah. But anyways, you guys know I've been kind of chilling the past few months because there's not a lot of weddings in the wintertime. So one of the things I like to do during my downtime is create vision boards. So when it came down to actually thinking of what tattoo design I would want and where I would want it, I already had an idea in my mind. And also my older sister Brenda, she has a lot of tattoos, so I was talking to her a lot about the process, the pain, and what she did. So once I knew exactly what tattoo I wanted and where I wanted it, I decided to message Chronic Ink because they're a very reputable tattoo company. And if I was going to get a tattoo, I wouldn't want anyone to mess it up. So yeah, I sent them a DM on Instagram, and surprisingly, they got back to me within an hour or two. Like it was a lot faster than I expected. I thought it would be much slower because they have over 200K followers, but I guess it's a business account. So yeah. I was like, hello, I've been thinking about getting my first tattoo on my wrist with the word breathe on it. I was wondering how much it would cost. And they got back to me saying, hi, it looks like you want single needle fine line writing. For that kind of size, generally it's around 140 to 180 because of the difficulty of fine line script. And then from there, he was giving me recommendations on artists. The person I was talking to was actually really nice. Like he was giving me very detailed answers and very quick with the booking process. So yeah, I would 100% recommend them. For my tattoo, I knew I wanted a fine line specialist because I didn't want the word to be too thick. That's actually something I learned from Marthy first, because Marthy has a tattoo and he originally booked a fine line specialist. Before that, I didn't even know there was a difference like between fine line and like thicker line. I don't know what the term is, but it makes sense. Basically, fine line artists, they use thinner needles, and then artists who aren't fine line, they use a thicker needle, so the finish would look different. Another thing is they sent me a font website, thefont.com, where I could look up different fonts, but I was also asking them like, oh, if I can't find a font, would I be able to use a picture? Because I had a picture on Pinterest that had the design that I liked, but I wasn't sure if I could find the font name. But anyways, I ended up finding the font. So I was like, oh, never mind, it's okay. And the guy said, oh, the font should be fine as long as we can cut it out and resize it. But if you found the font you're looking for, that's even better. All right, so moving on to the actual tattoo day. I had a font prepared, but when I met it with my artist, she actually had her own iPad prepared with her own designs. And I was pleasantly surprised because that wasn't part of her job at all. Like she didn't have to go out of her way to design something on her own. But yeah, I was actually very impressed because the designs she drew were actually a lot better than the font I had in mind. And also it was really cool how she put her own creative spin to it. Like as an artist myself, I really respect that. And it also perfectly conveyed the message and feeling that I wanted just through her handwriting. Like it was so elegant and it was exactly what I wanted and even better. So anyways, after I decided on which design I wanted, she printed out 3 different sizes for me to look at. There was 1.5 inch, 1.7, and then 2 inch. And then after I got those, I was basically putting them on my wrist and just trying to see how it looked like. And it was really helpful to have Marthy there because he's also an artist and has a really good eye for things. We kind of like went through the different options, and in the end, I was like, I think I like the 1.5 the most because it's small and delicate looking. Like for me, I wanted it more as like a personal reminder, and I guess kind of like an accessory too. Like if you have a tattoo on your wrist, it kind of looks like, not that it's a bracelet, but it kind of like goes with your bracelets, you know. But anyways, the other ones like 1.7 and 2, they look way too big, like in your face, like raw. And for me, it's just like I want subtle elegance. that's what I like. Yeah. Okay, so after we got the sizing down, then my artist went to print it out, and they basically what's the word, stencil or whatever, they like put a template on my arm. At first, my artist was recommending me to like put it lower, like right here, because this area of my wrist, if I was to bend it, it kind of wrinkles. So she was just saying like to avoid wrinkles, she recommends to put it lower. And at first I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like I never really thought about that. I kind of just like looked at the placement. I'm like, oh, I would want it like here, right? But because she was giving her opinion as a professional, I wanted to take that into consideration. So I was kind of like, okay, let's just test it out and like see it. But long story short, I ended up doing it 3 times. Like first it was like down here where there's like no wrinkles. Then I asked to shift it up higher and she put it like here. And then the final one, I was like, where's the highest that I could go? And she told me it was here. So yeah, I ended up doing that and I really liked it. I was very happy that I didn't choose to settle with like the lower ones, just because to me, I think the placement of it matters a lot more than having wrinkles or avoiding the wrinkles. Because I don't know, it's just like even when I wear a bracelet, my wrist in general is very tiny to begin with. So the bracelet kind of like falls down to like the fatter part of my wrist, but if I had the tattoo like right here, it would also block it. So that was kind of what I was thinking, but also because I wanted the word breathe as a reminder to myself, the higher it is, the easier it is for me to see, and I don't want to be like looking like down to like find it, you know what I mean? Like I just kind of want it to be in my face, but in a good position where it's also a nice accessory piece. During that process, I was like low-key afraid of the commitment. I'm like, am I making the right decision? And like, what if I say yes without actually 100% meaning it, and then they tattoo it and I'm like, shit, I should have just like said what I wanted. So anyways, I was just like really glad that my artist was very patient with me. She kept asking me like, oh, what do you think? And like, do you want it higher? She didn't make me feel bad about it at all. Like she genuinely was like, oh, tell me what you think, and you know, you can't change it, so make sure you like it, right? So yeah, I really appreciate that. Like for me, I think it takes a little bit of a nudge to be like, hey, like what do you really think, for me to genuinely just say what I want instead of like taking other people's opinions into consideration and factoring all of that before I get to like my true answer. Like part of me felt bad. I was like, what if I just stuck with what I wanted from the beginning? But like, nah, I don't care about the wrinkles. Like I just want to hear. But like I didn't truly know, I guess, until I tested it out and I was like, not sure. Anyways, the actual tattooing process took maybe like 30 minutes or less. I honestly don't remember. In terms of pain level too, it started off really light and then it gradually got higher, but I would say the highest pain level was maybe like 5. Honestly, I can't even remember anymore. Like I said in my vlog too, the thing about pain is like it hurts in the moment and then you forget. It really wasn't that bad. Like the wrist pain, I could do it again. After the tattoo was done, I had to wait 10 minutes for it to cool down, and then she took a few pictures. And then right before I left, she put a sticker thing to protect my tattoo. Anyways, the total price came down to $190. I mean, I was expecting that rate. When I inquired, they mentioned it would be $140 to $180, but then after I booked my appointment, they said that it would be $140 to $190 instead, like in the fine line script in the bottom. Anyways, for me, like price and like money doesn't really matter as much as like respecting the artist, and also like if I'm happy, like I'm down to like pay full price and like tip and all that stuff. So yeah, I was actually really happy and impressed with her too, and the fact that she went out of her way to like design her own things. She deserves a lot more. For the actual tattoo healing process, my artist sent me like a list of instructions, what to avoid, what to not do, and basically I had to wait a day to like rip off the protective sticker that they put on top of it, and then afterwards I had to buy unscented body wash and lotion to use it to like clean my tattoo and moisturize it. And yeah, now it's been almost 3 weeks and I think it's fully healed. They told me to also avoid exercising, so I haven't been playing badminton or doing Muay Thai or really going to the gym, because apparently if you like sweat too much, then it might ruin the tattoo. And because it's my first one, I'm also like extra cautious of not wanting to ruin it. But yeah, overall, I'm super happy with it. I couldn't have asked for a better artist, a better design, and The lesson, I guess, in this video is to not settle for something that you don't want and to not be afraid of going after what you want, vocalizing that, and also making it happen. Yeah, I really have to rush out now because I have my therapy appointment at 3:30 and it's currently 2:57 p.m. and it takes me like 25 minutes to drive there. So I'll talk to you guys later, but if you guys have any other questions, feel free to let me know in the comments below and I'll get back to you guys as soon as possible. Therapy is expensive too, so I do not want to be late. Bye guys, hope you have a great day and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.